and welcome to Access Granted, Color Contrast. Today we're going to learn more about building accessible digital experiences. I'm Heidi Keller, Senior Instructional Designer at Broward College.
And I am Rachel Ruprecht, also a Senior Instructional Designer here at Broward College.
The challenge with poor color contrast is that it creates a problem for visually impaired users. It makes the content unreadable and even unusable. The standards from WCAG success criteria include 1.4.3, where normal text requires a color contrast of 4.5 to 1 as the ratio, and large text requires 3 to 1. Standard 1.4.11 states that non-text components require a 3 to 1 color contrast ratio. Some best practices for color contrast are to not use color alone to convey meaning in text, and also to use a contrast checker. Different colors with the same apparent brightness can actually have very different contrast ratios. Remember, accessibility is not optional. Adequate color contrast is a requirement. So ask yourself, have you checked color contrast? Now Rachel will demonstrate checking and fixing some color contrast issues.
Thank you, Heidi. So like she said, I'm going to show you how to do this. So I'm here in a Word document with the Accessibility Assistant, Accessibility Checker open. You can access that via going to the Review tab and then to Check Accessibility. And as you can see, it has already identified as a quick fix and as an issue below here in the more detailed view, the color contrast problems with this document. So if I click on hard to read text contrast, it suggests alternatives which it would change the inaccessible red into, and then moves on to the next issue immediately to address it. So this is something that's a common feature of accessibility checkers built in, and you can use that to check. Also though, Heidi mentioned a downloadable color contrast analyzer. This is one of the many examples that there are, and you can use the color picker here for getting the specific hex code of the foreground and background color that you're working with. You can also input your own hex codes to check in advance whether text would be accessible, have a sufficient contrast ratio on particular background colors. And then down here, you can see the WCAG 2.1 results for the different standards and sizes of text that you might be using in order to check the color contrast. Like Heidi mentioned, this is really important for those who are visually impaired, especially colorblind individuals who might have difficulty engaging with the text if it's not presented with sufficient contrast, and also importantly, in a way that doesn't rely just on the color to convey the meaning. So that is an example of what this looks like in practice, and I'll hand it back to Heidi.
Great, thank you, Rachel. So now you learned a little bit about why color contrast is important and how to check and fix color contrast issues.